would you like to tell us about yourself, Christina?
I'm 19, I have a twin, I advocate for childhood cancer and childhood illness. I have chronic pain, I have chronic illnesses. That inspired me to try to help other kids with cancer and chronic illnesses because I have met countless of children who have died of these diseases and no one cared about them. And I cared. On to my topic. I'm talking about DIPG. It is a form of childhood cancer, also known as diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. I'm wearing it on my shirt right now, so that's why I'm not dressed to impress. Yeah, I'm wearing my topic on my shirt with the names of 100 children who have passed away from this illness. It's the world's worst form of childhood brain cancer with a 0% of survival. And this is just a graphic warning in case you are not comfortable with seeing dead and dying children.
So it's 100% fatal?
Yes, no survival past it's 10% chance of surviving past 2 years. And almost 99% of the cases, the child will die 6 to 9 months. It stands for diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. It's in the pons of the brain.
Oh, let me get that.
Diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma. It's only found in children. It's very rare in adults. That sounds terrible, but it's true. It's found in the brainstem of the child, meaning every single function that is used for your brainstem, walking, eating, drinking, all your basic functions, that is where the tumor is. It's on your brainstem. It destroys the child on the inside, but leaves them perfect looking on the outside. It has no boundaries. It mainly affects children 4 to 10, and it leaves them paralyzed inside their bodies while they are unable to talk, unable to move, unable to do anything while the tumor is crushing their skull from the inside. Sanaya, instead of celebrating her 8th birthday like a normal child, it took 5 minutes for the doctors to tell her parents that she will never have another birthday. DIPG was found in her CT scan, and she was not going to live past 2 months. They said, you have 2 months left with your daughter, and that is it. So they did radiation therapy, which is the only treatment they have for DIPG. It gives them approximately 6 more months to live, depending on if it works. And she was in what was called the honeymoon phase, meaning the treatment worked. She was fine for about 6 months. She was walking, she was eating, she was dancing, she was doing everything a normal child does. Going to school, she was doing so good up until last March. She suddenly declined. Treatment centers in Mexico, it's like $20,000 per treatment. You have to fly to Mexico, get treatment there. So I had a fundraiser here at MJC last year, and we raised, I don't remember how much, but Kevin Hart helped. Her dream was to meet Kevin Hart, so I did an online campaign for Sanaya. He saw it, he flew her out. She lived in Philadelphia. He was in Philadelphia around the time of the Super Bowl, so he came by to meet her the day after the Super Bowl. And that was when they said she would not live. She lived another 6 months, I believe, with the treatment in Mexico. It was life-changing. It was so well. But unfortunately, about almost a month after her 9th birthday, she passed away. Her last birthday wish was, I wish to feel better. It was the worst thing in the world. And this is Cheyenne. She lived 6 months. Of course, children with DIPG only live 6 to 9 months, but with treatment, you usually live about 9 months. But she lived approximately what they said, 6 months. It ravaged her so terribly, she passed away after 6 months of fighting. And in children, brainstem gliomas are the worst. If cancer is already bad, if you know that, you just know cancer is bad, especially in children. In DIPG, there is no rate of survival.
It's just unbelievable how much the treatment costs, too.
Treatment for DIPG is illegal in the US. So because of how experimental it is and how rare the cancer is, because it affects approximately 300 children per year.
200?
300.
On the whole planet?
So why is it illegal? Because it's kind of like
rare.
It's new technology or something, and they're just gonna trying it out.
It's experimental.
It's experimental, and there's no funding. Children already get 4% funding out of 100 from the National Cancer Institute. So every child diagnosed with DIPG gets approximately $500 per treatment, which doesn't even cost like the plane ride. That's not even half of the plane ride, much less the treatment, the hospital stay, everything. It's a terrible illness that costs so much money just to keep your child alive. It's all about money. Did not mean to do that. Corinne, this is exactly how DIPG made her. She was doing so well in school. She was given Student of the Month certificate. She was happy. The signs of DIPG are usually headaches, pressure on the head, and the eyes are crossing. Because the tumor is literally crushing their skull. It's crushing their brain. So it causes their eyes. And after a CT, they found out she had DIPG. It's terrible. Catherine, tomorrow would be her birthday. She would be 9 years old if she lived. She was I say one of the worst cases of DIPG that I remember, because she had, every day, her throat had to get suctioned out because there was so much fluid in it. Her eyes, the next picture is the graphic warning I'm talking about, by the way. It's gonna be of her. I don't know if you can tell, but this is the pressure of the tumor. A child with DIPG can go from being normal, completely normal, talking, laughing, to suddenly the eyes are crossing and you know what's happening. The tumor is growing, swelling onto their brain, and it's slowly killing them. She was paralyzed. She was in a wheelchair. It paralyzes them. No movement, no walk, no. You can't even move your arm to lift up like your blanket. You can't move your legs. You can't move your arms. You're paralyzed in this body that is taken over by a tumor. After she passed away in the morgue, the last time her mother got to see her child before she was buried. I'm wearing one of her bracelets right now. Her mother would like if everyone who sees this could do an act of kindness in her memory tomorrow for her birthday, or go eat sherbet ice cream, which is that was Catherine's favorite in her memory for her what would have been her birthday tomorrow. Still is her birthday, but she's celebrating in heaven. It's not right, because she should be having a birthday party tomorrow with all her family, but she's not. Pharmaceutical companies don't commit resources to childhood cancer research. That is why children only get 4% funding, and that is why almost every child with cancer, not just DIPG, but childhood cancer, that is a sad fact about childhood cancer. Pharmaceutical companies do not dedicate their time and effort to save these kids, and that is why they all die. Not all of them, but when a child lives past childhood cancer, the effects they will have, the side effects they have of the treatment, the barbaric treatment, which have been around since the First World War, it's disgusting. They will suffer from infertility, pain, chronic pain, lung disease, heart conditions, liver failure, just disabilities afterwards. The side effects of childhood cancer is severe and it's real, because government officials I should say, will commit to raising research funds for them, which is why parents have to do everything. So having a child with cancer is very expensive, especially DIPG. Sanaya's family would have to pay $40,000 per visit, because $20,000 for the treatment itself. I believe it was $8,000 for the MRI, because it was a certain kind of MRI. It was in Mexico at their treatment facility. It was a terrible. So every time she had a total of 8 treatments. Unfortunately, that's where the cancer spread. The people in Mexico weren't very honest, and they lied. They said, "Oh yeah, her tumor's shrinking." It wasn't. It grew by twice the size, and another one was forming. So it could work in some cases, but other times the treatment can be deadly. In Sanaya's case, the people unfortunately lied, and she had another tumor. And when she came back to the U.S. in a lot of pain from Mexico, they told her family, celebrate her birthday right now. She's not going to make it until her 9th birthday. So they celebrated with her. She did it. She lived past her 9th birthday and died just 2 weeks later. After her body shut down and she could no longer talk, eat, breathe, anything that a normal child could do. She couldn't run, she couldn't play with her sibling because she was taken by cancer. And that's it.
Wow. Well, I want to applaud you for your activism.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I mean, you did some awesome research too. Don't get me wrong.